Good evening, friends. The news we received today is that a new team of CBI has been appointed to further investigate the Sushant case. The new team will begin looking at evidences in the next few days. So don't lose hope, friends. Keep up the spirit. We fight as one hand. Friends, every time I research about actors and models who were in the scene and then suddenly disappeared, I'm talking about Bollywood and the TV scene in India, either by death or by mere presence, I'm stuck in the same dilemma. And I ask myself, this can't be true. What's happening in Mumbai? Where there is corruption at every corner, and this has been going on for ages. In fact, even about the recent teenager's death, Janvi's death, Janvi's parents will, I'm unsure whether Janvi's parents will ever get justice. The people investigating, because the people investigating are the same people who were very close to Riya Chakravarti and who were protecting her. You remember, every time she was being cross-questioned by NCB, she used to run to the same police station and get refuge from the same policeman. And the way the police, police is making some leaks about this murder is also rather strange because at one point they say that a peddler could have supplied drugs to this to the people at the party, and then wounds on the boy Shri on his head, ribs, and hands does not reveal a man who attacked a woman so brutally. In fact, I would say it's vice versa. Perhaps he could have tried to protect Janvi as a friend and now is being threatened to keep quiet or he's too frightened. You remember what happened to ordinary people like Samit, Sunaina, and Vipor, among many others. It is an atmosphere that they have created. Anyway, moving back to the point, today we focus on an actor who comes from a royal family in Orissa, a man who had mastered classical music, who studied in Doon School and Delhi University. Very talented and polished, Chandrachur Singh, and how he disappeared from Bollywood to now emerge as a jaded actor. In fact, I was surprised to see Chandrachur Singh in a serial called Arya on Netflix, mainly because we had this beautiful image of this tall and handsome man, and now he's completely changed in that he has put on a lot of weight and he looks rather old. The serial itself features Sushmita in the role of a family-oriented woman who is forced to take over after her husband is attacked by a drug mafia. Basically, I didn't like the serial much, but as usual, Chandrachur acts well. So I feel it's not going to make this serial is not going to make any change in his life, though he has spoken about it positively. Not like the time when he acted in his first film by Amitabh Bachchan, Tere Mere Sapne in 1996, which went on to be a super flop. But he shone in it. He then appeared in Gulzar's movie on Punjab terrorism in Marches in 1996. This made him a star overnight, and suddenly he was appearing in films with big stars like Sanjay Dutt in Daag the Fire in 1999 and Shah Rukh Khan in Josh in 2000. He was then seen as the most promising star with a bright future who could, ultimately become a superstar. Actor himself was born in 1968 to an affluent family. His father was an ex-MLA from Aligarh and his mother, the daughter of the Maharaja of Balongir in Orissa. He was the eldest of three sons. He was the eldest. His second brother, Aditya Singh, is also an actor and he appears as a villain in not only Hindi movies but also in regional films. And his youngest brother is not in films. Chandrachud had studied in Doon School and completed his college in Delhi University. He had also learned classical music and could sing well. So basically, he would have started as a singer. His first film was supposed to be Jab Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya opposite Suchitra Krishnamurti. But it was canned and subsequently he lost a few more opportunities. Then what he decided to do is he went to his alma mater, that is Doon School, and he started teaching music there. It was at this point that Amitabh Bachchan had started his new production house called ABCL. And Jaya Bachchan called him for an audition. And thus, he acted in this. And though the movie was a super flop, as I said, he made an impact in the minds of the audience. and critics. Then came matches, and the music teacher became a successful actor. And suddenly there was no stopping him. He had films like Silsila Hai Pyar Ke, Betabi, Kya Kehna, with Preeti Zinta, and many more. But the kind of acclaim he received at the hands of critics and the audience proved to be detrimental for him. People are usually happy when you become successful, but in Bollywood, it is as if you're successful and you're an outsider, you have a big problem. It was a terrible jet ski accident in Goa which changed everything for him and put a full stop in his life. In an accident that luckily did not kill him, but put his career on hold for the next 7 to 8 years. Speaking about the accident, Chandrachur said, these are all from various interviews. What he said was, I was water skiing in Goa and I missed my grip. The speedboat was moving at a high speed, and the enormous force pulled my right hand out of my shoulder joint. I'm lucky that my hand didn't get torn off from my body, because when I fell with a thud on the water surface, my right hand was only hanging on my muscle and skin. Can you just imagine the sheer pain and agony that he would have undergone? The hand was put back into its place in the hospital, but he soon realized that this was the beginning of the trauma. He says, my hand became very weak and started jeopardizing my daily activities. The doctor advised operation to set the joint right. I knew it would take, a year before I got back to normal work. But that 1 year layoff meant that the actor lost out on many good projects, and thus it resulted in him staying at home without work for almost 8 years because he couldn't bag any good project. The projects got worse, and I never felt like saying yes to them, he said. Finally, it was his brother who pulled him back under the arc lights. It's a children's film, and I'll be doing Maruti Mera Dost. That was another movie that he did. And he said, I'm glad that my brother had a role for me, says Chandrachur. In fact, when Dag, the fire came out, he was praised more than Sanjay Dutt. And in Josh, he got more attention than Shah Rukh Khan. Here was an outsider who was shining like a diamond in the sky, where nepotism and cliques made you a star, not talent. This handsome tall star with his polished manners just did not fit in. Despite giving two super hits and touted as the next superstar, he was suddenly getting insignificant roles and being replaced in films until he disappeared from the scene following the accident in Goa. From 2002 to 2009, he was away from the movie scene. In his interview, he said, when you start with two successful films, the expectations rise. But maybe things weren't supposed to be meant that way. The kind of roles I wanted to do weren't coming my way. In another interview, he said, there was a slew of interesting films I had signed which didn't materialize. Some got shelved after being shot, others didn't even go to the sets. I went through a phase of disillusionment, but took things in my stride, the good and the bad. In this profession, it's more magnified because we are in the public eye all the time. His words also are an echo of what Sushant Singh Rajput had undergone. Suddenly, it makes sense to all of us. The year this disaster struck was also the year his career was at an all-time high. And the top two stars, Sanjay Dutt and Shah Rukh Khan, would have become insecure watching this actor rise and make such a positive impact in Bollywood, where they were the reigning kings. The three Khans were also ruling Bollywood, and this was also the time when the underworld started extorting him for money and threatening him. He too, like Sushant Singh Rajput, would not have given in to the pressure and then would have perhaps been fixed in an accident. In Sushant Singh's case, it was death. Here, it is a degree less, is what it looks like. In his film Jab Pyar Kiya To Darna Kya, the movie got stalled. He was replaced by Rahul Khanna in Deepa Mehta's Earth, and he was to do another film with Tabu after Matches. In an interview with Times of India, Chandrachur said, a lot of people feel that I caught films like Matches and Tere Mere Sapne just like that. I came to Mumbai in 1988 and assisted Mahesh Bhatt. And I had to struggle a lot before I got the break. There were some big films from which I was replaced at the last moment. Fighting through that phase gave me a lot of inner strength and made me a tough person. For someone whose entry in the film industry was so difficult, handling the downfall was much easier. I utilized my time very constructively, watching world cinema, reading books, and listening to classical music. He also played a role in Meera Nayar's The Reluctant Fundamentalist. When an actor starts with an illustrious start and then suddenly vanishes, it's certainly odd. In a total of 24 years, you can imagine he only did about 20 odd films. During this time, he had to care for his son because he was single-handedly, because perhaps he would have been separated. And he did some non-fiction shows on cooking, Royal Rasoi on TV. He also sang a song called Rangreza in the film Yadvi, The Dignified Princess, where he played the character of Maharaja Bhupinder Singh of Patiala, one of the wealthiest and famous Maharajas of India, who was the first to own an aeroplane in India. The Maharaja who was known for many contributions in the history of India. Looking back, he says, he underwent disillusionment but took things in his stride. He says that, but I'm quite happy with what life has taught me. I had faith that one day the tide will turn. I just went with the flow. I don't think of it in any other way. For me, this was the place where I got the chance to earn my bread and butter and express myself creatively, which is acting. You have got to take everything in the right spirit. I did not take any pressure at all. Today, the OTT boom has put the focus on stories, and I'm glad I could be a part of Arya. Chandrachur shone during an era where the three Khans ruled Bollywood, and Sanjay Dutt was also at the top. There was no room for outsiders, and that too, someone who was as talented and good looking like Chandrachur. He was a trained classical singer, a musician, a talented actor, and a refined human being. Perhaps jealousy, envy, greed for money, and fame ensured that there was no place for him, as he was an outsider. Reports say that he refused to bow down to the threats of the underworld, be it extortion or blackmail. His non-compliance could have changed things, and then this sinister accident would have happened to destroy him physically and mentally, to teach him a lesson perhaps. Why I imply sinister is because I'm sure you will be able to read between the lines. Nothing is a suicide or something that happens because of emotions. There is a lot more to these people's stories. But Chandrachur perhaps does not want to openly say what really happened. Tired of all this and the need to protect his family from any harm, he would have perhaps left Mumbai. Today, even though Chandrachur returns, he knows he will not be given the kind of roles he could demand, as he is not a part of Karan Johar's clique or friends with the Dons. Remember, Sushant too also wanted to leave the city, but could not due to the kind of pressure he was living under and the kind of scrutiny he was facing under Riya Chakrabarti and the whole gang. So I would ask you, friends, how is this story different from Sushant's or from Shiny Ahuja's or Divya Bharti's or even Praveen Babi's? The day India is cleansed of drugs, money laundering, crime, child trafficking, the day our politicians stop bedding with the stars, only then will India be clean for the next generation. Thank you, friends. Do send in your valuable comments and suggestions. Good night.